Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. tmosso@thewatchbox.com is still my email address. It is still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing for inquiring about this or any watch you see on any of our platforms, reach out to me. I am still tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the IWC Portuguese Automatic 7-Day. This is the reference 5007-01. It's the model as updated for the 2015 model year in rose gold, 42.3 millimeters, 14.4 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 50.1 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now I throw the watch on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and I'm going to opine that this is probably the smallest wrist that should be wearing the watch. It does fit. You can see from over the top, the lugs are not quite out over the edge of my wrist. You can see that even better down the barrel, as I like to say, but we are at a limit here. If your wrist is smaller than 16 centimeters, look at a smaller Portugieser like the Kleine Portugieser or perhaps the Portuguese chronograph, which is more compact. It's not super thick, and it does feature a concave bezel, so it should slide underneath most cuffs and just about all jacket sleeves. So 16 centimeter circumference wrist or larger. The strap is high grade, medium rectangular scale alligator leather on the top, calfskin on the bottom. No crimping, no gouging, brand new IWC factory strap, a sort of medium brown with a matte finish, a little bit of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume, a monotone stitch, a sheer cut side, and then we have a clasp that is a single fold deployant clasp with a combination of media blasting and polishing internally, and then we have satin brushing and polish externally. Snaps shut with a nice satisfying click. Taking a look at the case, very similar to all Portugiesers since the original in 1939, with a narrow case band and blended integrated lugs. Now, the original watch was created at the behest of the Portuguese importers of IWC. They wanted a wristwatch that was as accurate as a pocket watch. The only way to do that at the time was to use a big movement from a pocket watch. And so you wound up with the first purpose-built, oversized dress watch, and that was the claim to fame of the original Portugieser. Portugieser is Portuguese in German, which is the language spoken at IWC in Schaffhausen, which is in the German-speaking northeastern portion of Switzerland. Founded by an American there in 1868, it's always done things a little bit differently. The French Swiss weren't interested in F.A. Jones's American production ideas. The German Swiss were receptive, and that's why IWC was created in Schaffhausen and remains there to that day. You can call this a Portuguese in English, or if you want to speak the lingua franca, which is ironically German in Schaffhausen, Portugieser. Now, it's a lot like the Patek Philippe Calatrava 32, which was a watch of the same era with the same basic aesthetic, small seconds, Arabic numerals, leaf hands, blended lugs, but very different in scale, as that was a tiny watch and the Portugieser was huge. We have the IWC motto on the crown, Probus Scafusia, a good solid watch made in Schaffhausen. You can see how the bezel is slightly set in from the case band. Then it has a vertical lip and a concave profile to visually thin the watch. The lug hoods are polished. The case band is satin. The dial is a gentle frosted opaline silver with two sunken sub-registers that each have a concentric pattern. We have applied rose gold indices and numerals, a faceted frame for the date which replaces the numeral 6, and the watch includes a hacking or stop seconds function, so you can set it to a reference time. There's also a quick set, so you can rapidly cycle the date if you need to. There's a power reserve indicator for the 7-day automatic winding power reserve, though you can manually wind it if you want to see the needle advance. The watch is 30 meters water resistant, which is pretty much the standard for a dress watch. Ever since it was debuted as the caliber 5000 in the year 2000, the 5000, 50,000, 51,000, and now 52,000 series automatics have been among the largest automatic movements ever made, 38.2 millimeters in diameter. It uses a signature IWC Albert Peloton bidirectional pawl-based winding system, but this one is full ceramic, so it doesn't create dirt on the movement, which was one of the few pitfalls of the original Albert Peloton system. We have a little solid gold medallion in the rotor. It's a bidirectional winder. It's got the 168-hour power reserve. What's different here is that now, with these 52,000 series movements, you have 2 barrels and now a 4 hertz beat rate, so a higher beat rate than the old 3 hertz. And with 2 barrels featuring phased hairsprings in series, the flat torque curve from maximum wind to minimum wind means that these watches now keep much better time. The single barrel models had the same power reserve, but generally they would gallop and gain a lot of time in the first few days and then lose a lot of time in the last few days. With these two staggered series connected mainsprings, you get a flat torque curve and much better timekeeping. And it's adjusted in 5 positions, so it'll keep good time in any position on the wrist or your dresser at night. 5 position is the standard generally for chronometers and high horology watches. It's also free sprung for durability with an overcoil hairspring, so in all of those 5 positions, plus the 6th, it will keep very consistent time. It's a great looking 31 jewel movement. You can see that the barrel bridge and the rotor have been partially skeletonized, so you can see more of the works. There's solarization on the ratchet wheels and the barrels. You can see the intermediate wheel between them solarized, snailing across the rotor, Côte de Genève across the bridges, engine turning on the base plate, satination on the ceramic parts, and then polish on the screw heads. It's a mostly machine-finished movement, but very attractively so. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am T. Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.